So this morning I woke up to something that I honestly don't think I've ever seen before in the world of video games, and it of course involves Cyberpunk 2077. Now yesterday on the channel we made a video talking about the console versions and essentially what went wrong with Cyberpunk 2077, and I pretty much thought I was done with the topic. Like, I don't plan on doing a full review of the game or anything like that because it's not really doing a great job of holding my interest. I don't think it's a bad game or anything, but I do think that there was a lot of unnecessary hype built up with this game, and a lot of promises just weren't met with this game. But early this morning, Projekt Red actually did a statement talking about the console versions of Cyberpunk 2077, and wow, man, wow, this is absolute insanity. I have never seen anything quite like this in the video game industry, and I've been around here for a pretty long time. So we're going to talk about today how Projekt Red pretty much admitted they lied about the console versions of Cyberpunk 2077, the fallout from this, and then I just want to share some basic thoughts on it. What's up, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button before you go. But without any further ado, let's talk about Projekt Red saying that they lied about Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles. So obviously a week ago I made a video talking about how I was concerned for Cyberpunk 2077, and a lot of people disagreed with that video. I wasn't quite sure why they necessarily disagreed, but hey, the dislikes were super high on it, but thank you for watching it anyways. And like I said in yesterday's video, there was a bit of a clarification problem. I wasn't talking about the PC version of Cyberpunk 2077 because I'm not a PC gamer. I don't play PC games. It's not my forte. I'm a console gamer, and I'm sure a lot of new viewers and potentially PC gamers came over to the channel from that video and were like, what is this guy talking about? Cyberpunk looks great on the PC, he's an idiot. So I should have clarified that situation. My concern was, of course, the console version of this game, and we of course got the console version of this game. I showcased some of it for the PlayStation 4 in yesterday's video, and it's not a good looking game. It's a game that has a lot of problems. It's a game that has a lot of glitches. Even on the next generation consoles like the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, there are still tons of problems. Like I said in yesterday's video, I've encountered game-breaking bugs, such as the situation with Victor, where you go to talk to him and the conversation won't finish, thus impeding your storyline gameplay and not allowing you to progress in the mainline story. And if I didn't look that up online to see if this was a glitch or anything like that, I would have spent tons of time on a save file that I wouldn't be able to access the rest of the story on the save file. But luckily, I decided to look it up because I thought things seemed a bit weird, and this happened within the first hour or two of gameplay. I actually played a little bit more last night, and there were just so many weird inconsistencies, and I think that's the biggest problem with the game on consoles is inconsistencies, glitches, bugs, and it's been very well documented, like I said. So that was my whole main concern with Cyberpunk, and it felt good to at least have somewhat sort of a justification for thinking that way. But this morning, Projekt Red dropped up an absolute bomb, and I want to talk about this statement because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. First and foremost, that you're making this statement. I want to talk about what this statement is bringing to the table, and then just sort of wrap things up with this Cyberpunk 2077 saga and the Cyberpunk 2077 drama. So in the statement given this morning, it says the following: Dear gamers, first of all, we would like to start by apologizing for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. Oh, the actual thing that I was talking about in my first Cyberpunk video, the fact that it was very spooky that there was no console footage of this game running on a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One. You know, that was the whole point of that video, and like I said, maybe I didn't do a great job clarifying it, but really, it's nice to see that even Projekt Red is admitting that, hey, this was a bad decision because it pretty much was lying to gamers about what they were going to get on their consoles. We should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Well, hold your asses here, Projekt Red. This game is a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One game. This game does not necessarily have a next generation patch with something like we've seen with Madden 21 or anything like that. This game was announced before the PlayStation 4 was even launched. This was announced back in 2012. What do you mean you should have paid more attention to making it run better on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One? These are the systems that the game came out on. It is nice that the game is enhanced somewhat for the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, but these were not the intended versions of the game. You might remember this game was supposed to come out multiple times, the last one being in April of 2020. In April of 2020, guess what? There wasn't a PlayStation 5. There wasn't an Xbox Series X on the market. So what do you mean you should have paid more attention to making the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One version run better? There are 3 versions of the game. Well, 4 if you count Google Stadia, but there's the PC version and there's the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One version. So how did you completely forget that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One were a thing when they were the consoles that you were targeting for this system? The Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 was just a little happy accident that happened because you delayed your game so many times. Like, this is the most absurd statement that I've ever heard a company say. The game that we designed for these consoles in mind. We're sorry we didn't pay attention to how these games ran on the consoles. So what the hell were you doing the whole time with this game? Just focusing on the PC version? Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates has already been released. Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates has just been released, and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Now, personally, I have already played the patch on the Xbox Series X. It plays pretty much the same. I actually had a few more glitches, that more so than normal, involving the environment last night, so, you know, that really means nothing to me. Expect more as we will update frequently whether new improvements. Expect more as we will update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. After the holidays, we'll continue working. We'll release 2 large patches, starting with the patch 1 in January. This will be followed by patch 2 in February. Together, these should fix the most prominent problems gamers are facing on last-gen consoles. We'll be informing you about the contents of each patch ahead of their release. This won't make the game on last-gen look like it's running on a high-spec PC or next-gen console, but it'll be closer to the experience that it is now. There is no next-gen version of this game. You should not be worried about the Xbox Series X version and the PlayStation 5 version. That is a minuscule part of your targeted audience. Let's be realistic. There might be maybe 5 million PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X's out there combined in the world right now. What about the 100 million people on the PlayStation 4 plus 100 million plus people? What about the 60 million plus on the Xbox One consoles? The consoles that these were designed in mind for. The consoles that this game was designed in mind for. This is ridiculous. How can you? They just seem to be skirting around the issue that they completely, you know, just ignored the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One versions by trying to say, you know, it's not going to look as good or anything. That's, you showcase the game. You are responsible for what you showcase with this game. You are responsible for giving people implications of what they can expect on a console. And now you're going back because, oh, it's not going to look as good as Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. That shouldn't even be in this equation right now because that's not what this game was targeted to run on. And finally, they try to save a bit of face, saying that, you know, you could get a refund with this game. You could contact PSN or Xbox respectively for box versions. Please try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, please contact us at an email address and we will do our best to help you. Starting from today, you can contact us up to a week, up until December 21st, 2020. So they are offering refunds, but let's be realistic. How many people are going to be emailing them about this that are unable to get a refund? Like, there's going to be literally probably millions of emails. Probably people who haven't even bought the game are going to be requesting an email. So basically, the too long didn't read version of this statement is that CD Projekt Red lied about Cyberpunk 2077. They deceived everyone by not showing the game running on the consoles that it was intended for, and now they're kind of surprised that they're getting all of this backlash. And it's absolutely ridiculous. One of the things I talked about in my initial video about Cyberpunk 2077 was how I thought it was so strange that everything was a very controlled environment, and that sort of extended into you know, YouTubers and podcasters as well. And honestly, I was gonna take some shots at them today, but the more I thought about it, the more I think it's not even necessarily fair, because if CD Projekt Red is going to sit there and lie to the mass audiences, to their consumers about what they're going to get with this game, they probably lied to these YouTubers, they probably lied to these podcasters about what the game was going to bring to the table. Now, should these people have been able to sort of maybe see through that? You know, that's up to you, but I can't really hold them responsible for giving the information that CD Projekt Red was probably giving them. Now, there's the whole thing of where should you trust people that are doing sponsored stuff? I still think you can. I mean, obviously, I do sponsored stuff on this channel, and I always tell companies that, hey, if I have a problem with something, if there's some issues with your game, I'm going to talk about it. And if they like it, great, maybe we can work together. If they don't like it, you know, I'm just going to move on because there's other things in the world out there. there. But really, what this boils down to is, in this life, you really have one thing that's always constant, and there's one thing that I was always growing up being taught that this was the most important thing, and that's somebody's word. You know, word is bond, and you know, that's kind of an old statement, but word is bond to me. If you waste, you know, my money, that's fine. I can go get more money. But if you waste your word on me, if you lie to me, I'm not going to believe you in the future because you are pegged as a liar. And yes, you could come out and apologize for things like this, but when the apology is half-assed and you're really dodging around the whole main question of why was the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One overthought when it came to your video game that was in development before these systems even came out. These are the main targeted consoles for your system, yet the console versions of the game run absolutely poorly, to the fact of where you have to issue an apology and then issue refunds as well. Why should I believe anything you say? Why should I believe anything you bring to the table, CD Projekt Red? And it's really an unfortunate situation, because what it ends up looking bad on is the employees there. It ends up making, you know, the people, the game developers, do not attack the people who made this game. You know, if you have some grievances, you attack the higher ups, because they're the ones calling the shots. They're the ones controlling everything. They're essentially the puppet masters when it comes to this, who, you know, what you can say and what you can do with these games. They're the ones deciding when this game needs to come out. Let's be realistic. If Cyberpunk 2077 was delayed another 6 months, maybe until April or something, I think the experience across the board would have been a lot more satisfying. Sure, the PlayStation 4 version of the game wouldn't look as good as something like the PC version of the game, but the glitches, the bugs, the mainline issues that are embedded into this game on consoles would not be as prevalent, and the experience would be a lot better of a situation. So CD Projekt Red, I can't trust you anymore. I can't trust anything you say. Cyberpunk 2077 is literally like Fallout 76, but on a bigger scale, because at least Bethesda was making other games around that time when that game came out. At least there was other Bethesda games to enjoy. This is your crown jewel. This is the game that you've been working on since 2012, and you completely screwed it up to the point of where people are so pissed off at you that they're probably not going to trust you in the future. And you know, it's an unfortunate situation. It's something that could happen to any sort of company, but I believe in 2020, 2021, in the all digital age of things like social media and things like that, you have to be as transparent as possible. You have to be honest with your consumer base, and you have to be honest with people, because people don't forget things like this. And me personally, I'm not going to forget something like this, but I do want to say one thing. Damn, my video from a week ago aged beautifully, didn't it? If you agree with me on this situation, go watch that video from a week ago and just sort of look how I'm like looking into the crystal ball with this situation when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077, and maybe leave a like on it so we can get the likes above dislikes. That video literally has more dislikes than likes on it, but it's like, I was right. I was right. So those are my thoughts on the latest Cyberpunk 2077 situation. I've obviously gone all over the place with this. None of this was scripted. This is all just off the top of the dome, a passionate video about Cyberpunk, because I just think this whole situation is ridiculous. And you know, it's nice to see that there is some sort of accountability in the video game industry, but I don't know how far it's actually going to go, and I don't know how many people are actually going to get their refunds, and it's a shit show. You know, it's honestly a shit show all across the board. But let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this situation. Are you going to request a refund from CD Projekt Red for Cyberpunk 2077? Are you just not going to buy the game, or you know, ignore the game, since they obviously don't deserve our money, since they pretty much said they rushed the product to the market and they lied about the versions of the game that everyone was looking forward to? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out other videos on the channel as well. Be sure to check out the Cyberpunk video from yesterday and the one from a week ago, because I mean, why not? You obviously like Cyberpunk stuff. You might as well just, you know, keep that ball rolling. And as always, guys, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.